أهلا أهلا بك يا دكتور. Dr. Hany Atchan made a comment on my Hoor video in which I discuss his interpretation of the concept of Hoor in the Qruan. And in today's podcast, I'm going to look at his comment and reply to it. So join me, please. Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Maulana Muhammadin Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa salli wa sallim alayhi. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. For those of you who are new to the party, welcome. A couple of days ago, I made a video about Dr. Atchan's interpretation of the concept of Hoor in the Quran. It's a frank discussion on the topic, really. And it's nothing serious, nothing very academic. And I say so in the video. I say that I'm not trying to refute or debunk Dr. Hany Atchan. Because, well, frankly, I don't feel a need to. He does not have an academic degree in Islamic studies, so he's not an academic in Islamic studies. And, well, everyone has a right to his or her own opinion, and that's all well and good. I just engage in a frank discussion about the video, and I ask a very simple question over and over again. What is Dr. Atchan's argument for imposing his understanding based on whichever methodology on the Quranic verses as the only possible understanding there could ever be? This is a narcissistic approach, and I'm critiquing the approach, right? And I'm asking a very simple, very basic question. What is the dalil, the burhan, for saying that this methodology is the only methodology through which you can authentically do an exegesis of the Quranic verses? That's a simple question. Now, in his comment, the doctor appears quite defensive and quite bitter and completely ignores my question, throwing ad hominems here and there. And, well, as by insulting me, he would, go around the question somehow. He would somehow be able to dodge the question that I raised in my video. But we're going to go back to the question, to the basic question that I ask again and again. So without any further ado, let's look at his comment and let's form a reply to it. Okay, so here is the video. This is the video. It's titled, this is episode 24 from season 1 of my podcast, Dr. Hany Atchan and the concept of Hoor in the Quran. If you haven't watched this video, please do, so you'd better understand this video that I'm making right now. And this is his comment right here. Let's bring it up. Where is it? Newest first. Okay, Marvelous Qur'an. This is his official channel, the Marvelous Qur'an. And I assume that unless he has given the administrative rights to his channel, moderation rights to his channel, to his team or somebody else, it is he himself who is commenting. So let's look at his comment. Let's talk about it a little bit. After 5 minutes, it is very obvious that you have never heard any video. Really, how am I commenting on one of your videos, the video that you made about Hoor, if I have not heard any of your videos? It's just absurd. You even admitted that you skimmed over a couple of videos. Sure. My life does not revolve around your videos, doctor. Pardon me, but I have a life and it does not revolve around the videos that you put out. So if I have not watched each and every second of each and every video that you have put out, I mean, pardon me for that if I haven't done so. But here's the point. I have looked into some of your videos, and I have an idea of where you're coming from, and I am critiquing that based on that very video that I have listened to and watched. So address my question instead of saying, oh, I haven't done this or haven't done that. Just address my question. I have myself admitted that I have not listened to and I have not watched each and every second of every video that you have put out. So how are you accusing me of something that I am admitting to myself? You know, that's just absurd again. Not making any sense. Right, so because at the beginning of every video on the channel, Dr. Hany clearly states that the research and conclusions are based on the organic Quranic methodology. Not his own methodology, but a methodology extracted from within the Quran. Now, do you guys see the problem with this sentence formation? There are two huge problems with this, and I'm going to address both of these problems. The first problem, doctor, is that you are being oxymoronic, really. You self-contradict yourself. You say, well, this is not my own methodology, and in the same sentence, you say that it is based on the methodology that I have extracted from the Quran. So which is it? Is it your methodology or is it not? I mean, look at the sentence, the way you form it. Just look at it. Not his own methodology, not Dr. Hany Atchan's methodology, but a methodology extracted from within the Quran. Who has extracted this methodology? Dr. Hany Atchan has, right? Who is claiming that this is the methodology through which, the only methodology through which you can exegete the Quran? Dr. Hany Atchan is putting forward that claim, right? You see the problem with this line of argumentation, right? You're claiming that this is the organic Quranic methodology and it is the only valid methodology to interpret the Quranic verses. And so it is your methodology. Why are you playing games? Stop playing games. Unless you are claiming that Allah Himself has spoken to you through wahi, hence proposing that you are a prophet, and has told you that this is the methodology and this is how it works and this is how you should interpret the verses. Unless you're saying that, it is but your own understanding and your own theory of a methodology. You are formulating this, so own it and move on. Stop wasting everyone's time. I mean, really. Surely you're not saying that Allah has blessed you with wahi, right? I'm sure you're not saying that. You're not making that claim, are you? So if you're not making that claim, this is your own understanding that you're imposing on the Quran, saying that it is the only valid methodology through which the Quranic verses can be understood and interpreted. So it is your methodology. It is your terminology. It is your methodology. I don't know why you're playing games, doctor. I really don't. Right. The Marvelous Quran channel has a playlist on the methodology. I think you have one video in which you talk about your methodology, which is not here, not there. Anyways, we'll talk about it in detail in the next video, inshallah. Clearly, as you have admitted, you have not done your homework. I don't feel a need to do my homework because I'm not trying to refute you academically, really. You don't have an academic degree in Islamic studies, so, I don't know why you're bringing up something that I myself say in my video. And yet, here you are critiquing without knowledge. Well, excuse me, doctor. I mean, the last time I checked, this was a free world, right? I'm pretty much allowed to do whatever I want to. And this is my basic human right. You say it is without knowledge. That's your opinion, okay. But it was a frank discussion. I did not want to appear too pedantic. I was not putting forward a research paper. I wasn't looking into the APA or MLA style of formatting and preparing a bibliography or a works cited list. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just frankly discussing the problems with your claims, with your ludicrous claims that even a child could see through. You know, why would I need to do a lot of homework on that? Frankly, I don't have any inclination towards wasting my time with something that is ludicrous and it appears childish and amateurish. So, this is childish, right? Putting forward the claim, the narcissistic claim that this is the only methodology through which Quranic verses can be interpreted. It's really hilarious, to say the least. You see, the problem is that you're going around in circles and you're trying to confuse everyone and evading my simple question, which stands even if I have not watched any of your videos. My simple question is, what is your argument for saying that this is the only interpretation that is valid? Based on whichever methodology it is, irrespective of whether it is based on this methodology or that methodology, how is your methodology the only valid methodology through which Quranic verses can be interpreted? It's a simple question. Just come out and answer it. You don't have an answer for it. It cannot be the only methodology that is valid. It's as simple as that. This is ludicrous, really. This is childish to a level which is unheard of. Well, not really unheard of. I mean, maybe you're not aware of this, but you're not doing anything new, Dr. Atchan. Most of the Shia scholars have been doing this so-called metaphorical exegesis for quite a while. They have a whole tradition of doing things similar to your claims, and they have books written about this. They have their own tafsir books. They have their own manahij books, manhajul adilla and whatnot. Maybe you're not aware of this, but take one simple example. In Surah Ar-Rahman, Allah says, "Maraj al-Bahrayn yaltaqiyan, baynahuma barzakhun la yabghiyan, fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadhiban, yakhruju minhuma al-lu'lu wal-marjan, fabi'ayyi ala'i rabbikuma tukadhiban." Do you know that Imam Suyuti did an exegesis of these verses and said that after giving the standard meanings derived from the Arabic language itself, he did a metaphorical exegesis of these verses and said that Maraj al-Bahrayn yaltaqiyan, that Bahrain denotes to Hazrat Ali radiyallahu anh and Hazrat Fatima az-Zahra radiyallahu anha wa salamullahi alayha, that Bahrain, Maraj al-Bahrayn yaltaqiyan, in this verse Bahrain denotes to these two personalities. Baynahuma barzakhun la yabghiyan, they have this had baynahuma, they have this partition between them that does not let either of the waters to be intermingled, meaning that they both maintain their personality and their attributes while running parallel to each other in unison. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمَا اللُّؤْلُ وَالْمَرْجَانِ. Al-Lu'lu, Imam Hassan, and Al-Marjan, Imam Hussein radiyallahu anhuma wa salamullahi alayhima. And so what Allah is saying is that Allah has preserved the bloodline of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are two Bahrain. There are two rivers flowing parallel to each other. One river is of ilm, which is Hazrat Ali. The other river is of the bloodline of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is Fatima az-Zahra radiyallahu anha. And they are running parallel to each other, fi zawaj. But they both maintain their personalities. They both maintain their attributes. And يَخْرُجُ مِنْهُمَا, and from them al-lu'lu wal-marjan are extracted. Meaning that, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have maintained your progeny, we have maintained your bloodline and the purity of your bloodline. And this is an exegesis that Imam Suyuti came up with, and he said this is one of the exegesis that could be done of the ayah after giving his standard Arabic meaning of these words and doing the standard Arabic exegesis of these verses, the Ibaratun Nas and Dalalatun Nas exegesis. He came to the Isharatun Nas exegesis and said that these could be interpreted in this way as well. And we don't have a problem with that. The problem is with Shiite scholars who say that who took this interpretation and said that this is the only interpretation that could be done. Now, when we turn around and ask them, what is your dalil, what is your burhan? They say the same thing, similar to what you're saying, Dr. Atchan. They say, well, this is this methodology or that methodology, or we base it on this, or we base it on that. Our simple question to them is, what is your adillah? What are your adillah? What are your barahin? To say that this exegesis that Bahrain can refer only to Hazrat Ali and Hazrat Fatima radiyallahu anhuma. What is your dalil for saying that? And they don't have any. They come up with the same excuses of, oh, this is based on this methodology or this is based on that methodology. Similar to your convoluted ideas. It's a simple question, man. It's the simplest possible question. What is your argument for not taking this in the literal meanings and going towards metaphorical meanings and saying those are the only valid ones? It's a simple question. This could be one of the interpretations, but how could this be the only interpretation? I mean, in Surah Fatir, Allah says, وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْبَحْرَانِ هَذَا عَذْبٌ فُرَاتٌ سَابِغٌ شَرَابُهُ وَهَذَا مِلْحٌ أُجَاجٌ. Now, in a similar fashion to what you do with the Hoor verses, they also have to twist the meanings of these verses as well to suit their metaphorical exegesis. This is quite similar to what you do. And this is not something new. This is not something I have encountered for the first time in my life. I mean, around 16, 17, maybe 18 years back, when I for the first time picked up the tafsir by Allama Alusi. It's called Ruhul Ma'ani. When I first picked up that tafsir, I was blown away by it, because he does exegesis of some of the verses that at that point in time, these interpretations were completely new for me. And I was like blown away by these interpretations by Allama Alusi. So I have not encountered this for the first time in my life. You know, the metaphorical exegesis. You're trying to come up with new theories, new meanings in different ayat. Could be one of the interpretation if it doesn't go against the established rules and rulings of our madhab, of our deen. If it doesn't go against that, I got no problem with that. It could be one of the ways in which the Qur'an can be interpreted. Sure, why not? I'm all for it. But how could that be the only way of exegesis? How all the scholarship before you is prejudiced and misogynistic, and they were all ghabi, they were all juhala. You are the only alim. I mean, it's just a ludicrous claim. It's a narcissistic claim to make. So I hope you do understand the question, doctor. I'm not going to use any ad hominem, unlike you. And I'm not going to say, get this through your thick skull, you're being a knucklehead. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say you're tunnel visioned, you're pig-headed. I'm not going to use any of those words for you. If I were in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I was born and raised in Mamlakat Saudi Al-Arabiya. I was born in Dhiba, and I was raised in Al-Bada'. Both these places are close to Tabuk. I have family in Saudi Arabia still. I have Makkawiyeen in my family from the families of Mihdar and Sagaf. So I have Arabi family there still, alhamdulillah, bihamdihi ta'ala wa bi'awnihi. If I were there, I would have called you Sayyidi. I would have addressed you as Sir, because you are my elder after all. And academia teaches me humility and respect. So I would have called you Ya Sayyidi, Ya Sidi. And maybe I would have gotten to know you better and later on called you Ammi. So Ammi, law samiht, isma' kalami, أقول لك تعال, أقول لك. All I'm saying is, how can you say and put forward a claim that your understanding is the only valid understanding? That is my question. Please come up with an answer for it. If you're trying to say you are a prophet, Allah speaks to you directly, that He has blessed you with wahi, that Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam comes down to you, تَتَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, that Jibreel alayhi salam himself comes down upon you and speaks to you, brings you wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jal, then come out with it and say it. Then we won't have all these problems to deal with. You're going around in circles and making it so confusing for everyone. Then we'll deal with you in other ways. We'll have another discourse, we'll have another dialogue, another discussion. But what really is your claim, the argument for your claim? Come out with it. Just tell us. How is it that you are the only one who has understood the Qur'an, who has come up with a theory that is valid for interpreting the Qur'an, for doing a translation of the Qur'an? How is it that you are the only one and no one else has been able to do so, or has been worthy of being called a scholar or an alim? فَوْقَ كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. I am open to learning always. I'm open to the idea that I make mistakes. I'm but a human being. I'm fallible. I don't even say that I'm a scholar. I just say I'm an academic. And I'm not an academic in Islamic studies. I don't have an advanced degree in Islamic studies. My advanced degree is in literature. I have an MPhil in literature in English. I'm currently a PhD candidate at University of the Punjab. Excuse me. In literature in English, I have international peer-reviewed publications in literature in English. I'm an artist, I'm a writer. I have directed plays, I have written plays. That is what I have an advanced degree in. I'm a student of Shari'iyah, Ulum al-Shari'iyah. I have an honors degree, a basic honors degree, which is called Shahadatul Aliyah. In Arabic, I have an honors degree in Ulum al-Shari'iyah. I'm a student, a humble student of Islam, of Islamic studies. And I have never said that I'm be all and all. I mean, far from it. I don't even say I'm a scholar. I'm not a scholar. What to say? I'm not even a scholar. I'm just a humble student of these subjects. And I'm always open to learning. Teach me if you have something to offer. I'm making an open offer. Teach me, teach us if you have something to offer. But what you are doing is really, it's all not here, not there. I mean, what you are coming up with is interesting. Sure, it could be looked upon. I mean, your interpretations, the ones that I've looked on, this Hoor thing, and one was Ismail thing, one was no Chinese prophet in the Qur'an, and you talk about Abrahamic locution, and you talk about the book by Ahmad Bassam. I read that book some while ago. It's called Al-Mu'jiza, right? And some of these things that I've looked upon, sure, I can listen to it with a cup of coffee, just enjoying myself. It's good entertainment. But it's nothing more than that, really. If you wanted something to be more than that, first, do a direct literature review vis-a-vis your own theories and your own interpretations, and accept that there are other ways of interpreting what you are interpreting. In the way that you are interpreting is not the only way in which a given verse could be interpreted, and no problems with that, sure. Yours can be one of the interpretations. Why not? You say Hoor means ayat mutashabihat, whose meanings are muqayyid in khiyam, and they need to be unraveled. The meanings need to be unraveled. Beautiful. That could be one of the interpretations. Why not? Bahrain yaltaqiyan. One of the interpretations could be that Bahrain, one Bahr is Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, one Bahr is Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anha. That could be one of the interpretations. Sure, why not? But saying that this is the only one, it's really childish and narcissistic. You are indulging in hermeneutic textual exegesis, although you say your methodology is not to be applied to the text but to the self. When you talk about Hoor, you talk about Hawara. That is linguistic exegesis, right? That is hermeneutic textual exegesis. Why cite its meanings as unraveling something if you do not want your theory to be applied to the text? Is that not hermeneutics? Who are you deceiving? Come on. Anyways, the details about your methodology are coming up, inshallah, very soon in the next video, and I'm going to talk at length about the methodology that you propose, and I'm going to, take you heads on that. Although there's not much to talk about really, because your methodology is neither here nor there. Just recite the Qruan, let the meanings descend upon you. You talk about things like those, but we're going to look at it in detail. So anyways, let's continue with your comment. Respected doctor, let's continue with that. Yet you are critiquing without knowledge. That's your opinion, okay. Last time I checked, doctor, this was a free world, if I'm not mistaken. And so I am allowed to do pretty much what I want to, right? And if this is without knowledge, I wonder why I have struck a chord and you appear so defensive and bitter in your comment. I don't know why that is, if this is all without knowledge. Yep, you are a typical academic in Islamic studies. I've never claimed that. Stop lying against me. Don't lie against me. I have never said that in my video. I don't have an advanced degree in Islamic studies. I have Shahadatul Aliyah, which is an honors degree. I'm a student, a humble learner. I never claimed to be a scholar. But this still does not answer my question. Where is the answer to my question? In reply to whatever you have said, if I were an insolent kid, neither of us is kids. I'm an old man. You're an old man. You're older than me. That is why I say that I respect you as an elder. But I have lost lots of respect for you. I respected you for the work that you have put out, at least in the sense that you have done something and you have spent some time doing it. But your ad hominems, they made me lose a lot of respect for you, because that make me understand and that make me suspect that academia has taught nothing to you. Academia has done nothing for you. Your degrees and your knowledge and your learning has done nothing for you, really. So anyways, trying to insult me is not going to do you any good. It doesn't solve any problems. It does not answer any of my questions. Answer the question, dear doctor. Whatever I am, whoever I am, I am a typical academic. I know nothing, whatever. I'm a nobody. Answer the question. What is your point? Answer the question. You just answered your own question as to why the work is presented directly to the public. That was never my question. My question was, if it is presented to the public, where is the peer review? How to discern authenticity? Through peer review, through literature review. We want to look at your literature review. Where is your literature review? You say you have studied the tafasir. Okay, name some of the tafasir. When you talk about this theory about Hoor, the concept of Hoor and how you interpret it, where is the literature review? You say everyone who's come before you has interpreted in this way or that way. Okay, give us textual references and show us how those textual references are wrong. Those guys are doing simple linguistic translations and exegesis. They are simply saying Hoor, one of the meanings of the word Hoor in Arabic. As an ism, it could be used as a fa'il, the meanings that you take, hawara. It could also be used as Hoor, jam'uhu, hura, as in a virgin girl, a beautiful virgin girl. It is one of the meanings of the word Hoor in Arabic. As an ism, it also has other meanings. It has meaning of a star, of a tree, a poplar tree. But it also has the meaning of a beautiful virgin girl. And then zawajnahum. How do you take the word zawajnahum out of its very obvious, basic Arabic understanding of zivaj, and how do you take it out from that and put it into a metaphorical framework and say that this is the only interpretation of zawajnahum bihurin ain? How? That is the only question that I'm putting forward. So bring us your evidence. Do a proper literature review, publish something that is, peer reviewed, that is looked upon. This is the peer review right here. Take it. This is the peer review. You put your theory in public, and then your peers, academic peers, review it. That is how the field of academia works. That is how authenticity is established of a given work. So this is me doing peer review right here, right now. Where is the peer review on your work? Where are the references? I don't see any. Where is the bibliography? Where is works cited list? Where is the works consulted list? I don't see any. All you're doing is, and you accuse me of being lazy and not doing my homework, or you doing lazily is just sitting in your home, on your PC, on your computer, coming up with a theory, and then proposing that this is the only theory through which the Quranic verses can be interpreted. Can there be anything more childish than that, doctor? Don't you see it? I mean, I don't take you as being that naive. So, anyways, the thing is, you're still evading my question. I don't have a problem with you presenting anything to the public. Like I said, I respect everyone's opinion. You have every right to your opinion. But here is the public coming back at you. Where is your peer review? Where is your literature review? I don't see it. And then you say, maybe you're not aware of this, but the public is far ahead of the so-called specialists like yourself. Why appear so bitter? Why are you so bitter, doctor? You need to chill out a little, So stop being lazy. Okay, I'll take that into consideration, coming from somebody as lazy as you are. And do your homework. About what? My homework on what? Which published work did I miss by you and not did my homework upon? Don't mistake my humility as ignorance, doctor. If I say humbly in my video that I have not done my homework, that I have not come prepared, it is because you are my elder. It is from istahya. أنا أستحي منك لأنك كبير يا عمي. أقول لك تعال لو سمحت أقول لك. You're my elder, and in humility, I say, well, I have not come prepared or I have not done homework, because I'm open to considering that I might have mistaken some of your things to mean something other than what they originally mean. So don't mistake my humility for ignorance. Your video is a lame attempt to gather views just by including Dr. Hany's name in the title. Whose name should have I included in the title of my video when I am talking about your video? Himar? Should I have said Himar and the concept of Hoor in the Qruan? Please, I'm not saying you are Himar. I'm not calling you a donkey. Ya Ammi, Ya Sayyidi. I'm not saying that. Far from it. I'm asking you simply, what should I have said in this title of my video? What should I have written here? Who and the concept of Hoor in the Quran? When I'm talking about your video, and I'll link to your video in the description of my video. Dr. Atchan is currently the founder and owner of the Marvelous Quran Project, which also has a YouTube channel. In this podcast episode, I discuss one of his videos about the concept of Hoor in the Quran. Full video of Dr. Atchan that I refer to can be found on his channel, and this is the address of your channel. I also say I do not claim any copyrights to any of his videos. I have only used his video for review and critique, and have linked to his video on his channel as the source, as the resource. So, doctor, what should I have said instead of saying this? Instead of linking to your video, instead of saying that this is Dr. Hany Atchan's claim, this is Dr. Hany Atchan's interpretation of the word Hoor, and I'm just having a frank discussion about it. What should I have said instead of that? What name should I have used instead of your name? It is completely absurd, the things that you have come up with in your comment, sir. Stop being lazy and do your homework, blah, blah. Pitiful, really. Doctor, if this is what you have learned from your enlightenment, and this is what you teach your students, I have nothing but pity for you and your students. I mean, I don't think this is befitting of the grandeur that you boast of. The understanding, and that, you say, I've been blessed with the understanding of the Quran. The Quran tells you to belittle others and insult others. Really? I lose a lot of respect for you today. So anyways, all I would say in reply to this is, Allah khalik ya Sayyidi. All right? I can insult you. Trust me, I know how to insult people. I know how to come at people, and I know how to call people names. I also have many words in my vocabulary. You know that I do, right? I am at least one generation younger than you are, so you know the level of insolence that I can stoop to. But I won't. My academia has taught me to respect others, to not to use ad hominem in a frank discussion, in a debate. And this is not really a debate. I'm not really debating you, because if I were debating you, I would have looked for a parity between yourself and me. I'm a parity in academic background, and you don't have an Islamic academic background, so there is no debate really. This is just a frank discussion. You take yourself way too seriously. I mean, what is next? You're going to say you're a prophet of Allah. You've already said on your channel that there are verses in the Quran which are about you and your channel, right? So what are you going to say next? You've said already that your interpretations are the only valid interpretations. You have said that your methodology is the only valid methodology for the exegesis of the Quran. What is next is my question. You're going to say you're prophet of Allah, that Allah has blessed you with wahi, that Hazrat Jibreel comes down upon you and brings you wahi from Allah. Then come out with the claim. Let's have it. Let's have your claim and let's look at it next. Anyways, in another video, inshallah, coming up very soon after this one, I'm going to talk about, in detail, review your methodology, your so-called organic Quranic methodology. There's not much to look at, but we're going to look at it nonetheless. And I am going to do my homework about it. And so I implore all Hany Atchan fanboys and fan base listening to this to please watch out for that video. And anyone else who's listening to this, especially my students, my humble words of advice: be reverent and respectful to everyone. Everyone has a right to their own opinion. Just be critical about it. Be critical about what they're saying. Be analytical about what they're saying. And don't fall for fake people, who just lazily say, okay, this is my methodology, and now you have to take everything as I say it, as I put it. I don't have any references for it. I don't have any peer reviews, any literature reviews, any works cited list for this. It's just my saying. It's just my theory. Just follow it. Beware of those people. Be critical of those people. This is the problem with the world today. When you allow non-specialized people to speak about a specialized field of studies in a tone of finality, that is when real problems are born. I don't have a problem with anyone coming up with a theory, but non-specialized people talking about specialized fields is called, there's a term actually in literature for it, it's called ultra-crepidarianism. Ultra-crepidarianism. That is what ultra-crepidarianism is. When, with a tone of finality, you talk about a specialized field in which you're not specialized, and that's called ultra-crepidarianism. That's really childish and very amateurish. Okay, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about briefly. Yeah, I wanted to look at Dr. Atchan's website of Miraculous Qur'an. It is miraculousquran.org. And yeah, here it is. And I want to look at this, a few words about the Marvelous Qur'an project, and just going to show you briefly how narcissistic this is. Unfortunately, all books of tafsir misidentified the nature of the Qur'an, treating it as if it were similar to a collection of poetry, thereby assuming that the words and expressions of the Qur'an need explanation using the traditional Arab poetic language. The Mufassirun, they go to Arabic poetry because they want to understand the meaning, the lingual meaning of a given word, and especially the way it was used by the Arabs normally, right? Anyways, just look at the narcissistic way. I mean, Dr. Hany Atchan comes around as, seems like he's a very anani guy. In Arabic, there is a word for narcissistic approach. It's called anani. You're very anani. You're someone who's a narcissist. You think you are be all and all, and there just can't be anything but your way of doing things. As a result of the above misidentification, existing books of tafsir made 5 critical mistakes. These are the mistakes that he lists. And then he goes on saying, here is the sugarcoating, and that too is very narcissistic. That's the irony. We do not mean every one of our great scholars. Wait a minute. You just said all books of tafsir, and now you're saying we do not mean every one of our great scholars. We do not name names. Well, not naming names is you being lazy. Or otherwise you would directly refer and not just say in a blanket way, in an umbrella way, everyone who said this or everyone who said that. Show us who said that and why he is wrong. We do not ascribe bad intentions. Well, you can't. You're not God. But okay, we ask for mercy and forgiveness for them. Also, we disregard their work. Okay, fine. You look at this and you clearly see his narcissistic approach. We believe it is anti-Islamic to force upon Muslims the opinions of a group of dead people. Who is forcing opinions of a group of dead people? Who is? I don't understand what you mean by this. Are you talking about taqleeds? Well, the ones who are not learned, they are going to follow someone one way or the other. They are going to do your taqleed if they are not doing others' taqleeds. So nobody is forcing an opinion in today's world. Nobody does that. Nobody can do that. It's really not how the world works today. From a certain specific time, claiming that they knew the truth and no one else in the history could formulate better interpretations. Nobody is saying that. In fact, every advanced student of tafsir knows that there are mistakes in certain translations. There are mistakes made by certain mufassirin as well. Every advanced student knows this. And we look at those mistakes, we correct them. The corrections have been made in later editions, in the works of later ulama, later mufassirin. And that is how the world works. Imam Abi Hanifa an-Nu'man, he said, Hummu rijal wa nahnu rijal. They are men and we are men. Even Imam Hanifa never said that my theory is the final theory. He said if you find something that is colliding and is in direct clash with the Qur'an and the Sunnah, فَضْرِبُوهَا عَلَى الْجِدَارِ. Throw it across on the wall. That is what he said. So this is a totally false claim to say that Muslims today claim that only the mutaqaddimin knew the truth and they were not fallible and no one else in history could formulate better interpretations. That's not what we say. I'd humbly request you and refer you to the excellent book by Sheikh Wahab al-Zuhaili, Dr. Wahab al-Zuhaili, who's written an excellent book in 8 volumes called Al-Fiqh al-Islami wa Adillatuhu. And I'm not saying that you become muqallid or you become Hanafi or Maliki or Shafi'i or whoever. I'm just saying look at the chapter about ijtihad and taqleed. He has a full volume dedicated to just these kinds of masail. He details and he talks about in detail about the concept of ijtihad, the types of ijtihad, the kind of ijtihad you can do in today's world. And it is the door is open for any mujtahid who wants to do that, who wants to come up with a new interpretation. But again, we need to discern authenticity, and that is done through peer review, by looking at the literature review that you bring forth, by looking at the references that you make. I mean, the concept of deconstructionism, the philosophy of deconstructionism. Jacques Derrida has come up with something new. He's the foremost, probably the topmost philosopher of my age, of contemporary era. And he's come up with a theory of deconstructionism, which is different from all of the theories that have come before. But he has built upon those theories. He refers to those theories. He refers to those people. He refers to the structuralism of Ferdinand de Saussure. He refers to the post-structuralist works of Lacan and Zizek. And so you build on the scholarship, you refer to it to show the framework in which you're formulating your theories. It's not like you're just lazily sitting back in your room with the laptop in front of you. and some slides in which you have copied and pasted some of the verses of the Quran, and then come up with a theory lazily and say, this is my theory and this is be all and all. You should stop being lazy and you should do your homework in this regard. Ya Sayyidi, law samiht. Right. In his bio, he says, I have 40 years of studying and teaching Islam and the Quran under my belt, Sha Allah alaik, including reading over 28 tafsir. Which tafsir? More than 12 translations. Which ones? Dozens of mother books. Ummul Kitab, Ummul Kutub, Ummahatul Kutub. Which are the Ummahats that you have studied? And hundreds of Islamic studies and Quranic studies book. Okay. Papers, dissertations, well, blah, 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 okay. BS in my native, well, he has a PhD in information sciences. And then you can go and make claims about studying whatever you want to. I can make a claim. I have studied 1,000 books of tafsir, and I have studied 40 translations. I have studied over 100 books on the Quran, and I have studied over 50 dissertations written. Okay, I make that claim. I'm making that claim right now. Refute it. Go and refute it. So it is neither here nor there, really. So anyways, I am going to go into his methodology in detail, and I'm going to tackle his methodology in detail, inshallah, in the next video. So you can stay tuned, and I will, inshallah, see you in the next video very soon. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.